Yes, looking forward to the workout. All right, let's do some chord practicing. Today we're going to do wave. So grab the PDFs. There's the PDF on Patreon. The link is in the description. It has these chord shapes and some bossa comping rhythms. So grab your guitar. It can be a nylon string. It can be electric, jazz guitar, whatever you prefer. I like nylon string, typically for bossa nova. So, who's joining me here today? Good to see you, Bob. This is a little impromptu live stream here. The pop-up session, I call these. Okay, so we're working on Jobim's classic wave. I'm not going to waste any time. We're just going to get started on this. First of all, the vamp. We all love that vamp. You know what I'm talking about? This one. And then we're off into the A section, the melody. So let's talk about that vamp to get started. That's one approach, that kind of funky Dorian vamp. So what I mean by that Dorian is we're on a D minor 7, and the chart in the fake book might say D minor 7, G7, but I'm doing this as a kind of a substitution, D minor in the bass, or D in the bass, and then F major triad. And that creates ultimately a D minor 7. And then we can slide up that F triad to a G triad. And that's now part of the G chord, the G7 chord, just a triad of it. So we have D minor 7 to a G triad. And that would be essentially for the G7 chord. So we have this. 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4. And what I like to do is play around with inversions of that movement. F, G, F, G, F, G, F, G, if you want to. So you can have a lot of fun. F, G. Again. We could go up to the next inversion. F, G major triads. Super fun. That's just one thing I like to do when jamming on that intro, vamping on it. Usually while the bass player is getting this sheet music ready, I'll just kind of kick off on the vamp while the band's loading up their iReal Pro. So the other thing I like to do is what's written in the book. D minor 7, G7. D minor 7, G7, 2, 5, as if we're in C, even though the song is not in C. D minor 7, G7. I find that a little bit too polite, so I prefer D minor 9 to G13. So I do this. Put a little backbeat on there. Off into the melody. So those are two things that I like to do for that intro, really three, if you think of the possible combinations of D minor to G7. Okay, so that's the intro. Let's talk about the chords to the A section. This A section is very unique. It's got a really unique chord progression. I can't name another song that does this exact chord progression. So we're in the key of D. So, you know, the Dorian vamp was D Dorian. This is kind of a modal interchange. So now it goes to D major. You have the one chord, D major 7. I'll just go through the basic shapes. B flat diminished 7. Okay, beautiful movement. That to me is a sub for A7, as if it's like an A7 flat 9. like the 5 of D. So it's like the 1-5. That's how I approach it for soloing. By the way, I do have bonus videos on Patreon if you're interested in soloing on improvisation. I'll be hitting some theoretical aspects here, but again, the focus on today is comping and chord choicing and chord choicing. That's a new word. Chord choices, chord melody explorations. All right, melodic comping. So we have D major 7. I'll go over the very basic, what I call the grip chords. And this is all in that PDF too. If you want to grab it, there's a PDF that shows these grids on here. B flat dim 7, A minor 7. And this is a 2-5 going to the 4. Usually what I say is when the 1 chord turns to dominant, you guys know what I'm saying now. When the 1 turns to dominant, it goes to the 4 chord. But this it's really D9, that's your dominant. But we put a 2 chord in front of it, 2-5, to the 4. Okay, so that's what's happening here. It's not terribly hard when you think of it simplified like this. The 5 of the 1, which is the flat dim, with the flat 9 in the bass, you have A7 flat 9, but it's B flat dim. A minor 7, I'll show you some cool chords in a second here, but let's stick with the basics. D7 or D9, and now to the 4, G major 7. You could do G6 if you prefer. You could do both, and then G minor 7, or G minor 6, or both. If you want to have that beautiful little voice leading, you could do both. You could do this. Okay, now here's the fun part. The F sharp 13, on the chart it might just say F sharp 7. I like the 13. It's going to create this beautiful chromatic voice leading. So F sharp 13, F sharp flat 13, or sharp 5, however you want to think of it. B9, this is the dominant cycle here, just pulling us back to D essentially. B7 flat 9. So I'm going to go through that again. This is really beautiful because you get this chromatic. Okay, that was F sharp 13, flat the 13, F sharp 7 flat 13, or sharp 5 if you want to think of it that way. B9, B7 flat 9, and then B minor / E. It's a sus. This is a special chord. I whack that low E. You can see it vibrate here. And then I play B minor 7. That creates a E9 sus4. And then I go to E9. Or sometimes I just leave this and just practice that. And that, you can think of that as B minor 7 to B minor 6. I'll be talking about this a little bit more, how important it is to practice minor 7, minor 6, major 7, major 6 to create voice leading. Subtle but beautiful. And then B flat 13, A7 sharp 5, it could be called flat 13, and then your choice back to that intro vamp. I'm going to choose D minor 9, G13 in this example. And A section. Let's do that again. You got it? Let's do it again. B flat dim, A minor 7, D7 or D9, G major 7, G minor 6. You can just keep it simple in F sharp 7 to B9. You don't have to do all the fancy voice leading. But I like the voice leading. I'll put it back in right here. Flat 9. And this. So that's how I like to play the A section for wave. I'm going to show you some other fancier chords you can do. So I love that voice leading again, but instead of D major 7, I often like to play D major 9. So let's go through this major 9. I just went through this earlier with one of my students, my diamond tier students. I showed the 9th chord routine. I want to walk you through this 9th chord routine as a little separate bonus lesson here. This is what I call the 9th chord routine. We have D major 9, D dominant 9, D minor 9. Okay, let's do all three of those. Those are the three important families of chords: major, minor, and dominant. Major 9, dominant 9, minor 9. Okay, very, very important to get those 9th chords. Major 9, dominant 9, minor 9. Let's scoot back and do something fun here. With the major 9, let's take off the 7 and go to the 6. So you get this, D6 9. Very common in Bossa Nova, 6-9. 1, 3, 6, 9. Here's major 9, you have the 7 instead of the 6 here. And why not do both? So you get this sound. Like I said a minute ago, 7 to the 6 is a beautiful inner voice leading often. So with that in mind, check out this. You could do this. D minor 9 to D minor 6, 9. So you get this. Okay. And one other thing I like to, well, there's a couple other things I like to do. I like to do D9 sus4, which is this, to D9. So I'm going 4, 3. So I'm doing this. And of course, can't leave out Jimi Hendrix, the Purple Haze chord, D7 sharp 9. And while we're at it, if we got the sharp 9, we've got the flat 9. Okay, so now I'm altering that 9. The 9 is E on D, but we can have a sharp 9, which would be E sharp, aka F natural, or E flat, okay? Flat 9. So that's the extended 9th chord routine. Let's do that together. D major 9, D dominant 9, D minor 9, D6 9, D 9 sus 4. Got these all? D7 sharp 9, D7 flat 9, D minor 6 9. Okay, we want to just have a good grasp on all of these colors. All right, so that's what I like. That's my 9th chord routine. That's a little bonus lesson here for that. Let's go ahead and now show you D, this other optional route for, before we get too fancy here on wave. D major 9, B flat dim 7. Now this chord is not on the worksheet. I'm just going to show it to you. A minor 9. Just using these open strings. A minor 9. I love that for Bossa Nova. And then D13. Using some open voicings. G major 13. G minor add 9. I'm going to continue with this because I really want you to learn this. F sharp 13. F sharp with the flat 13. 7 flat 13. B9. B7 flat 9. E9 sus 4, aka B minor 7 to the resolution, and then B flat 13. Here we go. And maybe back to this. Another ninth chord I like to do. This is D major 9. D major 9. I'm just thinking of an F sharp minor 7 chord with a D in the bass. And the B flat dim. Don't forget the diminished, we can slide around every 3 frets. You can add a whole step above it. Okay, so we can have some cool chords. Maybe A minor 11, D7 flat 9, G major 13, G minor major 7, F sharp 7, B7 sharp 5. What's next? E7, and then the B flat 7 here, A7, and vamp. So let me talk about what I did there. That was just impromptu, but I still want to kind of talk about the melodic comping idea. There I took F sharp minor 7 with a D in the bass. I call it D major 9. And I'm focusing a lot on the second string. So I was trying to create some voice leading on the second string. So we have this. And then instead of the chart might say B flat dim 7, but I'm thinking B flat dim 7 is the same as G dim 7. So I could do this. Same 4 notes, just inverted, okay? So we have this. Now the chart says A minor 7. I'm going to do A minor 11, and that's the shape. Love that. It's very open sounding. The chart says D7. I'm going to play D7 with a flat 9. Get some tension. Okay. So we have something like this. I'm just going to maybe finger pick it. Now I'm going to go to the E here in the melody, but I'm putting G major 7. That creates a G major 13 sound. Now I could just do G minor 7 if you want to, but I'm going to do G minor with a major 7. Why not get a little bit out there for this lesson? Okay. So again, I'm following the second string. I'm letting this line lead me to some new chord shapes. So I call this chord exploring. Plain old F sharp 7. Can't get any more plain, but it sounds cool in this context because it's going to go to this and then this. You can get. Let's do that route again. E7. And now we can go up here, maybe do this. D6, plain old D6. C sharp dim 7. Maybe use some inversions, right? B flat and C sharp are the same diminished 7. And then now the chart says A minor 7, but we know A minor 7 is equivalent to C6. Okay. And then instead of D7, I could do C diminished 7 as a sub. So it's kind of getting some new colors. Now instead of G major 7, I'm going to do G slash B with the major 7. It's darker, and then minor 6. This is playing around with inversions. Okay. So we have something like this maybe. I don't know. Let's see what it sounds like. Well, I like that. Okay. And then we could go to F sharp 7. And one thing I like to do is I like to move the bass lines around. So I do F sharp 13, put the 3rd in the bass, kind of like a swing guitar trick. Let's try that again. I like that one. All these like reharmonization. have to keep track of what you're doing and where you're at. You can mix and match all you want. This one, then you can put it on the top string. And play more chord melody. So those are just some things I like to think about when playing chords, starting with the really basic and then getting a little bit more advanced with inversions, some different bass notes, trying out, experimenting. I like to say the word exploring, chord exploring. I want to talk a minute about the B section. And if you want more soloing ideas, I do have on Patreon a bonus lesson on some improvisation ideas of how I approach single note soloing. It does kind of bleed into this topic of thinking about the harmony, to understand the progression really well, and then knowing some different subs too. The B section here, it's a 2-5-1. It goes to the parallel key. So it's G minor 7, C, but it's really nice to use inversions, and that's what some of the fake books say. Here, let me actually grab my fake book and show you. For those of you who are fans of the real book, when you look at who uses the real book out there? Anybody still use the real book? That's what you'll see for the real book here. But for the real book, it'll actually say G minor 7, C9 / B flat, and then A minor 7. See, I don't do that. I do F major 7. But you get this really kind of a nice dark flavor. What I'm going to show you is, instead of G minor 7, put the third in the bass, so you're playing B flat 6. Well, guess what? B flat 6 and G minor 7 are the same chord, right? It's just easier to think B flat 6. And then for the C7 chord, we're going to keep the B flat in the bass, but do C triad. Check this out. Isn't that beautiful? C triad with the B flat in the bass. So you have B flat 6, which is G minor 7, but it's nice to have that B flat in the bass. Creates this very ethereal sound. And then C with the B flat in the bass. That's a C7 chord, just inverted. And now, instead of some books say F major 7, play F major 7 with the A in the bass. Listen how dark it is when you get this chord, as opposed to just F major 7 here, right? You can put the third in the bass. It sounds more minor-y. So we have A, F, C, E. It's just an inversion of this F major 7. The third is in the bass. So check out how beautiful this 2-5-1 sounds with some thirds in the bass, and third in the bass for the G minor 7, flat 7 in the bass for the C7, and then the third in the bass for the F major 7, and you can go to 6. Again, I really recommend that you practice 7, 6 everywhere. 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6. Minor 7, minor 6, major 7, minor 6. That's one of my essential things to practice for jazz. So check it out again, 2-5-1 in F with these inversions. Is that nice? Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. Now it goes to the key of E flat. This book says G minor, but I like it to think of it as a 2-5 to E flat. So we're going to do the same process for the F minor 7 chord, which is the 2 of E flat. You think A flat 6. And then for that B flat 7, we're doing B flat triad with the A flat in the bass. This is all in that PDF, by the way. And then E flat major 7 with a 3rd in the bass. It's kind of like G minor. Here's G minor 7, but here it is with that E flat. It's a little bit darker. And then the A7 chord, I'm like A9 sus4, which is G over A. So you release that sus to the 3. You can add the F sharp on top, so you get the 13. And you can put your A on if you prefer to double the A, so you get this. Okay. Is that sweet? Back home to the last A. We know what to do here. We have a lot of options. Maybe tritones up. I didn't show you that yet. A minor to A flat 13. Tritone. And then G major 13. So let's review that B section before we hit the last A again. It's nice to have some variations. Here we go, B section. Any questions on that? How you guys doing out there? Not too talkative today, huh? That's okay. I'll do the talking. I'm pretty wired with some coffee today, so trying to keep up with my live streams and offer these to you daily, some tricks and hacks and favorite songs. Hey, we do have NKL. Thanks. Hey, appreciate it. I don't think I've had the pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. This is just a little pop-up session inspired by my diamond tier lesson earlier, where I was going over the basics of wave and showing some of these nice subs that's nice to share for those who like this particular very unique song. I do also have a chord melody, a solo guitar arrangement that's available. The link is in the description if you're interested in learning that note for note. Well, hey, that's it for today. Thanks again for tuning in. Great to see you all. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.